Huge update. Report sparks talk of an incoming Leafs trade.
Quick reminder for Leafs Nation, if you're a diehard Toronto fan and you're still bleeding blue and white, subscribe to the channel and leave a like. It's the best way to stay updated every single day on our journey.
The Toronto Maple Leafs are, well, they're on a definite roll. The offense is clicking. The momentum is there. You can feel it.
They're firmly in a playoff spot.
Absolutely. But even with all these wins, the whispers, they just haven't stopped. We all know Brad Treliving has been relentlessly searching for an anchor on that blue line.
It's the kind of stability back there.
And then just sort of out of nowhere, this massive, unexpected trade opportunity has basically been gift-wrapped for Toronto. It could reshape the entire season.
It's an absolute bombshell.
Yeah.
And it requires a real deep dive because this is not your typical hockey trade.
Not at all.
What we're seeing is a situation around one of the NHL's most prolific offensive defensemen, Dougie Hamilton, a player. I mean, the Leafs have been linked to him for years.
Oh, constantly.
But here's the twist. This isn't about getting a rental. This is a high-impact player acquisition that's, well, it's masquerading as a desperate salary dump by another team.
Okay, let's unpack this for you. Our mission today is kind of twofold. First, we have to get into the stunning internal chaos in New Jersey that suddenly makes a player like Hamilton available for, what, almost zero asset costs.
It's wild. And second, and this is the most critical part, we have to analyze the really complex salary cap moves Treliving would have to pull off.
Right.
Specifically, the entire feasibility of this deal. It all hinges on the medical status of Chris Tanev and, the very fine print of the current LTIR rules.
This is truly a crucial moment for the Leafs' immediate future. The sources are saying they might be able to get a legitimate top four defenseman a huge upgrade.
For a minimal asset cost.
Yeah.
We're talking late picks, maybe a fringe prospect.
But, and it's a big but, that advantage comes with a substantial financial commitment and a significant long-term risk tied to that $9 million price tag.
Let's start with the chaos in Jersey. That's the source.
That's where it all begins. Just days ago, the massive surprising news breaks that Dougie Hamilton has been a healthy scratch. When a player earning $9 million, who's supposed to be a core piece, is sitting in the press box, that's a flashing red light. It's signaling an organizational disaster.
It is. And the reports, they cite Hamilton's agent, J.P. Perry, and they leave zero ambiguity here.
What did he say?
Perry confirmed Hamilton was told explicitly he would not be playing. And the quote we have to focus on is this. He was clear in saying that the decision is, quote, all about business.
All about business.
And has nothing to do with his performance. That tells you everything. This is not a coaching decision. This is not about a slum. This is management trying to force a financial move.
So if it's purely management trying to move a major contract, we have to look at why. Why are the Devils so desperate right now?
Exactly. It's not just that they're headed downward.
We need the context, the internal implosion.
Right. We have to put this in the broader context of their organization. The team is struggling. Their high hopes for the season are, well, they've evaporated.
And that struggle led them to seek a massive shakeup.
A huge one. We remember those explosive reports from a few weeks back that the Devils were trying to acquire Quinn Hughes. I mean, that's a franchise-altering target.
They were ready to blow up their roster for him, but they couldn't do it. Why not?
The sources confirm it was blocked because of poor asset management over the last few seasons. Specifically, the Devils have the most no-movement clauses in the entire league.
So they tied their own hands.
Completely. They tried to use contracts with NMCs in the Hughes proposal. Those players found out, and the whole deal just collapsed because they couldn't shed the salary. The players vetoed it.
And that failure, trying and failing so publicly to move core pieces, that had to create a rupture inside the locker room. It just destroys the trust between players and management.
It created an environment where players are reportedly, quote, giving up on management. So when you have a massive financial piece like Hamilton, who is also a great trade chip, and your locker room is fractured,
moving him becomes the easiest path.
it's the path of least resistance to reset the dynamic and signal a new direction. It's pure desperation driving his availability.
Now, that brings us to the key hurdle, player control. We know Hamilton has a 10-team no-trade list, the NTL.
Right. For anyone who might not track every single contract detail, the NTL lets a player give the team a list of 10 teams he can't be traded to. It's usually the first roadblock.
And we know he's used it.
We have historical evidence. He rejected a trade to San Jose last year, which was reportedly one of the teams on his list. So that list is a major hurdle for any team.
But what's fascinating here, and what makes this so viable for Toronto, is the flexibility that Hamilton and his camp are showing now.
They see the writing on the wall, they realize New Jersey is in distress, and they want to move to a contender.
The key development here is that Hamilton and his agent have made it very clear they are willing to work with the Devils. The sources indicate they will consider teams outside our list.
And other creative ways to get to a team that is mutually acceptable.
They just want out.
They want out. And they're willing to override their own contract protection to get to a major market contender. And that willingness, it just dramatically expands Treliving's window of opportunity.
Especially since we know he is desperately looking for another defenseman.
So let's pivot to the Toronto angle. We know what Treliving wants: asset protection, an upgrade. But what is he actually buying on the ice? What does Hamilton bring?
Besides the obvious offense, yeah.
If you look at his on-ice profile, it's highly polarizing. He's the kind of player who excites you for 3 minutes and then terrifies you for the next 2.
That's a good way to put it.
He's characterized as really good offensively, elite in transition, incredible point shot. He generates chances. But the flip side, the thing that splits the fan base, is he's pretty core defensively. He can get exposed in his own zone.
That said, the reports do note a crucial balancing act. He's effective on special teams, good on the power play, and surprisingly, the penalty kill.
He's a true high-event player.
He is, but we have to acknowledge the immediate red flag. His output this year is down, way down. Only 10 points in 40 games.
Right, and that contributes to this idea that he's had a pretty rough year, especially as of late. You're not getting him at his peak performance right now. You are acquiring a player who is underperforming his contract.
And that leads us right to the money, which is the core of the risk, but it's also the core of the opportunity.
A staggering $9 million cap hit.
With 2 full years left after this season, that is a gargantuan commitment for a guy who's struggling.
It is. But this whole opportunity, it just screams Treliving style move. You can call it a Brad Shiv move. You're trading financial commitment in turn for asset retention.
Meaning the Leafs would not have to give up significant assets. The sources are suggesting very minimal, if any, draft capital.
Or high-end young players. Because New Jersey's priority here isn't getting value back. It's shedding the cap hit and the cash.
And that's what makes this so attractive for Toronto's management. You just have to look back to last year's deadline. The reports were the Leafs were willing to give up premium assets.
Easton Cowan was in those talks.
Easton Cowan, a player we've seen turn into a massive asset, maybe a future first-round pick, all for what would have been marginal upgrades.
So avoiding that kind of spending for an established NHL defenseman, even one with contract baggage, is hugely appealing when you're trying to keep that prospect pipeline healthy.
Exactly. You're protecting your future by mortgaging cap space now. If Treliving can get Hamilton without touching Cowan or a high pick, that's a win. Even if the cap hit feels, inflated.
It moves the cost from the prospect pool to the accounting ledger.
But this all raises the one critical question of feasibility, which brings us to the Chris Tanev factor. This whole scenario, mathematically, it all hinges on one man's medical report.
It does. Chris Tanev's injury status is the one crucial domino. It determines if acquiring Hamilton is even possible right now.
And the timing is key. The Leafs expect to find out later this week if Tanev is definitively coming back for the first round.
Or if he's unequivocally out for the whole year.
And that single outcome completely changes the cap math because of the fine print in the current long-term injured reserve rules, the LTIR rules.
And for you listening, if you're not living inside cap friendly, we have to clarify this distinction. It's vital.
So if Tanev is ruled out for the whole year, what happens?
That qualifies him for season-ending LTIR. That designation means the Leafs get a clean, full cap savings of his entire $4.5 million cap hit.
Permanently, for the rest of the season and playoffs.
Yes, and that $4.5 million is described as almost half of Dougie Hamilton's salary. That immediate guaranteed relief is massive.
But if he's expected back, even for, say, Game 4 of the first round,
then the math gets much, much more complicated. It reverts to these complex cap accrual formulas, which really limits the relief. The reported